Welcome back. So in this particular video, we are going to take a look at how we will be able to set up our house so that our house URLs will be able to know where each room is, and each room to the room will be able to tell where each item is placed. So you remember we created a project called Bio. And in that project, we created an app called Face ID in our previous videos. And we are saying the bio is the house and the Face ID is the rooms inside that particular house. Now, when you go into our project folder, which is the bio folder, we have settings, we have URLs, we have templates. In our settings file, we need to tell our project settings file that we have an app inside our project called Face ID. So we need to tell the controller or the one who controls our house that we have a particular room in the house and that room is called Face ID. So to do that, you simply go to your project settings.py file. Then you move on to installed apps. Once you get to installed apps, you simply add your app to the particular section. So our application was called Face ID. So we insert our app here so that our settings get to know that, oh, yeah, there is a room in that house called Face ID. So there is a particular application that we have in our project called Face ID, so that our settings get to know of our application. Once we are done with that, remember in our earlier videos too, we discussed that when someone comes and knock on our door, there is a guy who is supposed to ask them a question. What are you here to do? Then the response will determine where the guy will direct the user to. And that guy in our project is the urls.py file. So the urls.py file is the agent who is at the house gate. When someone knocks, the agent will ask, welcome, what do you want to do? I want to do Face ID or face detection. Okay, for face detection, go to the hall, into the corridor, move on to your right. When you get to your right, there is a door called face detection. Knock on that door, someone will attend to you. And that agent to do that is the urls.py file. So we also need to tell the urls.py file that we have a Face ID application. Inside the Face ID application, we have a file in there called urls.py. The file called urls.py, whenever someone knocks on our door and the person wants to do face detection, send the person to the urls.py the urls.py file inside our Face ID application. That is what we want to do. We just want to tell the project urls.py file that whenever you get a request and that request is for face detection, send that particular request to our Face ID application. There is a file in our Face ID application called urls.py. That file will be the agent to handle the rest. So all we simply need to do is that, if you remember, in our Face ID app we created, we had no urls.py file. So we created our own urls.py file in the Face ID application. So all we need to do is to go to our bio project folder in the urls.py. We simply want to tell it that we have an app called Face ID, and that Face ID has a urls.py file, and we want that agent to handle the discussion when someone wants to do a face detection. So all we need to do is, once we have path imported, we need to also import include. Once we import include, we just need to tell the system that this is what we want. So we call path, then we tell path that when someone wants to do face detection, simply direct that individual to the application called Face ID. In the application called face ID, we have a file there called URLs. Send that person to that agent. So that agent will handle the request from there. So when someone visits our project, he gets to our gate and that person knocks. If that knock is for face detection, we want that person sent to our face ID application. Inside our face ID application, we have a file called urls.py. Let urls.py handle the request from that particular individual. That is all that we are doing. So we have registered our application in settings. We have been able to tell the url.py file agent that when you get a knock and it's face detection, send that individual to the urls.py file. Okay. So the next thing is we will go into our folder, our application, which is the face ID application. And we said all the logic for our application happens in the views. So the first thing that we are going to do in the views is that we are going to import the packages that we installed in our first video. So in our first video, we installed Pillow, we installed face detection, and we installed NumPy. So let's import them. So we will start with NumPy. So import NumPy as np. So we install the package called NumPy. We just want to import it as np. Then we also install the package called Pillow. So we say from Pillow import image. There is a particular function in the Pillow package that we installed called image, and we want to use that. And we also installed a package called face detection. So we can import face detection as well. And we can say as FC, depending on what you want to do. You can say that you want to import face detection as FC. What this simply means is that every single place that you want to use face detection, you can just say FC. So you do this import face detection. Now, the other thing is, you remember we wanted to compare two images to check whether there is a face in the image and whether the two images have the same face. To do that, we need to give the user a form. When the user gets the form, the user needs to fill the form. So you provide us with first image and second image. Then we will process the image to see whether there is a face in it and whether that face that is in the image is the same individual. So we need to create a form. And we can create a form using Python and Django specifically. So all we need to do is, inside our application folder, we will create another file called forms.py. Then we hit enter. Now inside this forms.py, we need to create a form with two fields. That is image 1 and image 2. For the user to upload image 1 and image 2, then we do the comparisons on that image. So we simply say from Django, we are going to use Django forms. So we import forms. Now we can create a form using a class. So we say class, then the name of that class. Let's call the class image upload form. Image upload form. Then the parameter is for us to use the Django forms that we imported. So forms.form. Now this form should have two fields, image 1 and image 2. So we create two variables, image 1 and image 2. Now, what do we want image 1 to be equated to? We want to use the Django forms that we imported, and there is a field in the Django forms called image field. So we are going to make use of the image field. Then with image 2, since we are taking the same image, we can use the Django forms image field. as well. So that will be it. We are done with our forms. And remember, we said all the logic happens in our views. So we can go back to our views and import the form that we created. This is the form that we have created in our forms.py file. And the name of the form is what? Image upload form. So you can simply go to the views and say that from this particular directory that we are in, that is where our views.py file is, there is a particular file there called forms. And inside forms, we want to import a particular form called image upload form. That is it. We are saying we have a file in the directory that we are currently at, which is the views.py file directory. Inside that, we want to import the image upload form. Excuse me for that. So that will be it for our imports. In our next video, I'll talk about what render is, what numpy is, what pillow is, and what face detection is. Then we start to write the logic for comparing the two images and taking the uploaded images as well.